it's Wednesday, it's Hump Day Hangover. Greetings everyone, I'm Bart, and once again this week we're continuing with a storytelling classic. And this week is really one that really motivates and inspires. It's entitled Determination and Persistence. So, grab yourself a cup of coffee, or join me with a cocktail, and let's get started. This is Hump Day Hangover. Now today's story, Determination and Persistence, is the real-life story of John Roebling, who in 1870 set out to build the Brooklyn Bridge. The bridge was completed in 1893, 13 years later. You see, back in the time, John Roebling was a creative engineer, and he was inspired to build a spectacular bridge that connected New York City with Long Island. And the bridge building experts throughout the world thought this was an impossible feat. They told Roebling to forget the idea, that it just could not be done, that it was not practical, and it had never been done before. Have you ever heard that about one of your ideas? Well, Roebling could not ignore the vision he had in mind for this bridge. He thought about it all the time. He knew deep in his heart that it could get done. He just needed to share his dream with someone. And after much discussion and persuasion, he convinced his son Washington, an up-and-coming engineer, that the bridge in fact could be built. So you see, the father and son started working together for the first time. And they developed concepts of how the bridge could get built, and this dream could come into fruition, and how the obstacles that they might encounter could be overcome. With great excitement and inspiration, the headiness of a wild challenge before them, they hired their crew and they began to build their dream bridge. And the project started out quite well. But only a few months into the project, a tragic accident occurred on the site, and it took the life of John Roebling. Washington was also injured. He was left with a certain amount of brain damage, and as a result, could not walk, nor could he talk. We told them they were crazy. Crazy men and crazy dreams. It's foolish to chase wild dreams. We told them so. Those are just some of the comments that Washington heard about his and his dad's dream. Everyone seemed to have a negative comment. Some felt the project should be scrapped, but the Roeblings were the only ones who knew how the bridge could be built. So in spite of his handicap, Washington never became discouraged. He still had a burning desire to complete the bridge. His mind was as sharp as ever, and he tried to inspire and pass on his enthusiasm with some of his friends, but they were too daunted by the task, too afraid of the risk, and fearful of the challenge. So in his hospital room one day, with the sunlight streaming through the windows and a gentle breeze blowing the flimsy white curtains apart, he was able to see the sky Washington was and the treetops outside for just a moment. It seemed as though there was a message there for him not to give up. And suddenly, he had an idea. All he could do was move one finger. He decided to make the best use of moving that one finger. By moving one finger, he slowly developed a code of communication with his wife. He would touch her arm or her hand with that one finger, indicating to her that he wanted her to call the engineers again. Then he used the same method of tapping to tell engineers what to do. It seemed foolish, but the project was well underway. For 13 years, Washington tapped out his instructions with his finger on his wife's arm until the bridge was finally completed. Today, the spectacular Brooklyn Bridge stands in all its glory as a tribute to one man's indomitable spirit and his determination not to be defeated by circumstances. It is also a tribute to the engineers and their teamwork, to their faith in a man who was considered mad by half of the world. It stands as a tangible monument to the love and devotion of a wife who for 13 long years patiently decoded the message of her husband and told the engineers what to do. Perhaps this is one of the best, if not the best example of a never say die spirit and attitude. One can overcome a terrible physical handicap and achieve an impossible goal. You see, often when we face obstacles in our day-to-day life, our hurdles really are very small in comparison to what many others may face. The Brooklyn Bridge stands as a tribute that our dreams that may seem impossible can be realized. And they're realized through determination and persistence, no matter what the odds. Now, today's lesson, as with many, come from my best-selling book, My Moment to Succeed. Go out to my website, gogetbart.com. Out there you'll find a link out to Amazon. Purchase the book there. I'll be glad to personalize it as well as to autograph it for you. But let's go on over to our journaling activities for the week, and as we have been doing in the past, a little bit different. But always this week, we're going to start out with the wins. So list the wins that you celebrated today and throughout the week. Then I want you to ask yourself, what obstacles have you overcome that first seemed impossible? And is there anything you're so passionate about you would not give up? Do you have the patience to see a project through for 13 years? And who believes in you no matter what? This week's Bartism comes from Thomas Edison. And Thomas Edison taught us that when you have exhausted all possibilities, remember this: you haven't. And don't forget that gratitude list. List 3 to 5 things you're grateful for, and I'm very grateful that you joined me again this week. Hit that subscribe button below. Click the bell next to it to be sure and receive your notifications. Go out to my website, gogetbart.com. At the bottom in the footnotes are all the links to my social media. Follow me on social media. And of course, visit the Success Store. And remember, what comes to mind when someone mentions your name? That is your brand. So until next week, always believe that success occurs when your dreams become bigger than your excuses. This has been Hump Day Hangover. Ciao!